morning, guys. So this is week number 10 for the garden tour. We've had, oh, here's this. I got a black crim this morning. It's in the video. You'll see it when you watch it. And I think I've harvested probably 50 zucchini, numerous cucumbers. I eat about 3 a day, with dip too, so that's great, you know. And then trying to think what else. Onions we've been using a lot of. The hot peppers, like the hot wax, mostly, and then jalapenos, that kind of thing. My Anaheims are just starting to come. The anchos, they're not quite big enough yet. And then otherwise, sweet corn's about a week or 2 out. You'll see that in the video. And I have a couple tomatoes that are starting to blush. Oh, I did eat almost all the cabbage from the front bed, except for one. And I will be harvesting quite a few bell peppers tonight because we're gonna do stuffed peppers. So it's been really slow this year. A lot of plant growth, less of the vegetables themselves, but now things, sorry, it's really bright. Things are starting to come out in full swing. So I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, I'd say the next couple weeks we're gonna be eating the sweet corn and I'll be canning and I'll have tomatoes out my ears. So anyway, come along today, enjoy, and we'll see you again on week number 11. Okay, so of course the sun's out, so it's gonna be really hard to see from a distance, so I'm gonna get up close. So the first thing is the cherry tomato. Let me go from the other side. Hey, Isa, stop pulling my, don't start, get out. She likes my cucumbers, and apparently now she's starting to like tomatoes. So, this cherry plant is a good foot above my trellis, which, let's see, it's as tall as I am, which is like 5'4". So the plant itself is probably 6'4", and you can see here that this hangs down quite a bit. I should just cut that. It's been doing okay for production. There's a lot of tomatoes. Everything's a little bit late this year from what I've seen. So this is a Amish paste here, the one that was topped. It's doing really well. I've been kind of pruning it here and there, but not very much. I'm sure you can see that. And then we have this Amish paste right here next to it. And I just noticed this morning that we have one ripening, so that's awesome. Look at some of the size of some of these tomatoes. And yeah, I do have, I don't know if that's what you would call blight, or what, but it's been pretty humid, a lot of moisture in the mornings. You can see all the water on the leaves maybe. You know, that's a water drop there. Come on, focus. So I think that might have something to do with it. This here is the great white. And man, I did kind of let that go a little bit. Some of these, it's hard to train them because before you know it, they're up past it, you know. But it's doing okay too. It's a nice white tomato. They're really good. Just waiting for things to ripen. The Jubilee, which is still really tiny, but it does have some tomatoes on it. And then here we have Mr. Stripey. Trying to train. There. Which we're getting some tomatoes on here. At first there wasn't very many, but there's more and more coming. The 3 canna, or I think they're canna lilies that I planted, they're finally doing something. And then here is the humongous pepper patch. These are literally the biggest peppers I've ever grown. This one's up out of, last week it was to my hip, this week it's to my belly button, if not past there. And the production of them, this one I'm still don't have any. Like, it's a beautiful plant, but there's nothing on there. So here's the ancho or the poblanos, which they're coming along really nice. Jalapenos, the mystery. It's supposed to be serrano, like I know I've talked about this. It's totally not. The hot wax. I have tons of them. So I did harvest one cayenne. There's just a ton on there. Let's see. Let's come through by the watermelon. My pretty zinnias. I cut a whole bunch yesterday. I also cut the flowers off of the sunflowers that I had to pull. So it looks like I might have to start supporting this pumpkin. If not, it's not too late yet. So that's my big old pumpkin. And the pumpkin plant is up and over and around. And here we are with the crazy watermelon. So these are the moon and stars ones. Let's see if I can make it a little brighter. I can tell just because they're a different shape. Here's another moon and stars. They're really starting to produce now. Oh, here's a nice one. Yeah, you can see the dew on that. It's a good visual. And I have a sugar baby down here, which I don't know. I gotta figure out when they're done because they don't get very big, from what I understand. There's another one. I got water in my face. There's another small one there. And then on this side by the pumpkin, I have another. Oh, the bees are in here like crazy. I got that small one. Ooh, now we're way too bright. And we got this one here. We have all kinds of lighting issues today, guys. I'm sorry. That one's about the size of my hand, but it looks like it's drying up, so I don't know. So I did have 4 different kinds. I see three different ones, 2 on each side. The squash jungle. But I have a lot. There's a lot of squash in here, which I'm really excited about because these delicatas, I tried one that a client of mine had given me last year, and they were super good. So that's why we're growing them, you know. And this one's up and over. We have this plant that's like 4 together that I can't do anything with. It doesn't want to train because it's so thick. So what I need to do is just tie him up. Maybe I'll get that done today. So, and I think that's the only pumpkin I have on this huge plant. I haven't seen much else on there. So, ooh, bugs. Here's more of the delicata just starting to get their stripes. And the pickles. Man, I'm harvesting them. I've done 2 batches of refrigerator pickles, like a gallon. And basically my harvest and then I come out and there's more. So they've been keeping me busy. And the slicers are doing really well, extremely well. It's always nice to have a good production of things. So my path is not quite there like it was last week. But here's the overview. We did a good weeding on it this week. It took about an hour this time, so things are just kind of starting to get away from me. But there's the first bed. Okay, so here is my side bed. I did pretty well for spacing. Although, I do like a 4x4 area for the zucchini. Next year I think I'm gonna do a 6x6 because it did take up the space I gave it, but I have no room to walk around it. So that's been an issue. The only plus side is weeding. I haven't really had to do very much around there because it's so thick. My tomato plants, they're trees, especially those right there. Those aren't trees in the background. Those are my plants. And this week we finally have cauliflower production. All but a couple. And I need to come through and, you know, tie these heads. Another one. So finally I get some cauliflower. So I'm pretty excited about that because I grew it for a reason, you know. So here are our pepper plants, and tonight I'm going to make some stuffed peppers. If you can see the size of this thing, it's bigger than my hand. So I'm pretty excited about that. I should have picked them last night, but I had a friend over and never got a chance to get out here. So that's why I'm doing my garden tour on Thursday instead of Wednesday. But yeah, I have just a ton. This is another one that's super long. Tons and tons of good bell peppers. There's some red ones. These bayonets, they have a really nice bell pepper. Come on. Sorry about the lighting today. It's not the greatest. But those are nice. It's really hard. Let me see if I can go this direction. So good size. Perfect for stuffed peppers. My cabbage heads that are all beaten up. The yellow squash I cannot keep up with. I literally will pick, and the next day I come out here and there's big ones on there. It's like, where'd they come from? And here, these are my purple bell peppers. I really like them. They're thinner skinned than a regular bell pepper, but man, they're beautiful. So my dill is finally doing well. Yeah, and here are the trees of tomatoes. And I have a ton of tomatoes on there. They're way up over the trellis. They stood through that storm, so that's okay. But if you come in, nothing's ripe yet, but the size, this is the triple crop. The size of some of these tomatoes are pretty crazy. I'm gonna have tomatoes coming out of my ears, guys, which is what I wanted. I wanted to do a lot of canning, so I know these heirlooms aren't really known. Maybe they're known for that. Probably what they were used for back in the day. Some of these branches I gotta tie up. So these are the Cherokee purples, and then my San Marzanos. They're in here, and oh, we got one starting to turn, starting to blush. But they're harder to see because I have the leaves just kind of go on them. But they're loaded. They are literally loaded. So I'm gonna have to have a couple, maybe days off of work to get some of this canning. So this plant is unbelievable. And then there's the black crim, which, I have a really nice one on here. I have a lot of tomatoes on here, and these, I really like these. They're good. The ones I keep getting, the ripe ones, are pretty small, but they're good. So there's a really nice black crim. And Prudence purple. I'm not sure really what to expect, if they're gonna be purple or what. I've never seen one. But some of them are pretty good sized tomatoes, not potatoes. So there's another really nice one. This is a really nice plant. And then the humongous Roma. This is all one plant. It's huge for a Roma. This is the biggest one I've had. So that's loaded with them too. So let's go. All right, the back bed. Like I said, I lost 4 sunflowers, which isn't awful. But they knocked down some of my parsnips and, you know, etc., etc. So what I ended up doing, and I hope it's not going to affect them, but I went through and on the parsnips, whatever was laying down on my onions or back on the carrots that aren't getting any light, because the sunflowers, they didn't do very well this year. But I just cut off what was hanging down. So things are standing back up. I hope it'll perk everything up and it'll look good. So, but man, these sunflowers are massive. They've got to be, well, they're definitely taller than the ones last year. So they're pushing 12 feet. But I love them. I love sunflowers. What I don't like is the lean, but I guess they all do. Here's a big old head. It's hanging down. And yeah, my corn's been taking hit after hit with the wind, but it stood back up today again. So we have the yellow corn. It's tasseling and a little bit of drying there. So they're, I think another week or two, I'll be eating corn. And then there's these ones. They're super pretty. The steps. I don't know if you guys have seen where people French braid them and make little. I seen it on Facebook. Maybe I can find a picture and I'll throw it in the video. But I thought about doing that just with one, because this is so pretty, that red. So, anyway, there's not too much else going on in this bed. So I don't need to spend a lot of time back here, but it's doing well this week. And I did have to weed a little bit. I did the edges and the onions. The rest of the stuff isn't so bad. There you go, that's week number 10. And we're just starting to get into some production here. Talk about this thing a little bit. It's next to my house and I've never planted it, and I have really no clue what it is. Obviously it's some type of squash or something, and it's got some squash bugs in there and a bee, all full of pollen.